Welcome, and thank you for joining our Community Foundations webinar. My name is Ali Pakalnis, and I will help facilitate our webinar today. Before we get started, here are a few tips on using the Zoom platform so you can engage with our presenters and have the best experience possible. You should see a Zoom toolbar with icons for Ask a Question and Raise Your Hand. Please use the Ask a Question feature to submit a question or comment. If you need any assistance, click on the Raise Your Hand button and I will connect with you to help. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation, and we will do our best to answer them all. If we didn't answer your question, we will follow up with you personally after the presentation. Within 72 hours of the webinar, you will receive a link to download the slide deck and recorded presentation. Next slide. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to our presenters, Brenda Kaler and Jalita Robinson.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be with you today. My name is Brenda Kaler. I'm director here at Armanino. Been here about 7 years, and I love working with community foundations. So we're really happy to be here today.
Hello, my name is Jalita Robinson, and I am a senior consultant here at Armanino in the Salesforce practice. My background is primarily in providing technical and organizational solutions for nonprofits, and it is a pleasure also to be here with you today.
So our learning objectives today are to identify some current trends impacting Community Foundation, to do a demo of the Salesforce donor portal capabilities and ways it can aid in enriching relationships, and to understand the next steps in the journey for a seamless pledge to cash process. Next, and our agenda, pretty much the same. Current trends, the donor portal, and then some next steps and how to get started if you're not sure where is the best place to get started. Okay, so for our first polling question, we want to know, what are you currently using for a donor portal? If you are going to select other, please pop in the chat what you are using. Just make sure that you do change that to everyone if you'd like everyone to see your response. Looks like we've got lots of responses coming in here. We can go ahead and close the poll in 3, 2, 1. All right, we've got most people using something else and a couple people using Blackbaud FIM. Those of you that said you're using something else, we'd love to know what you're using. If you are okay popping that in the chat, we'll go ahead and move on. Okay, so some of the current trends that we're seeing, I just wanted to throw up this snapshot that I got from the 2002 DAF report from the National Philanthropic Trust, because it really just shows the exponential growth that community foundations have been experiencing over the last, let's call it 4 or 5 years. So really, DAFs are growing at historic rates. Most every metric is outpacing the 10-year average. Over 200 billion in charitable assets, almost 1.3 million accounts, and the payout is at an all-time high. So since DAF donors are granting at historic levels, more than a 25% increase year over year for the last 5 years, the stock market has surged. That has increased the charitable assets, it's increased giving, it's increased payouts. And historically, periods with strong growth in charitable assets are immediately followed by a large increase in grant making. Historically, that's what we've seen in the space here. So moving on to our next slide. First current trend I wanted to talk about is staffing concerns. So when you're growing at historic rates, community foundations are just like other nonprofits. You tend not to invest in the back office until everything is absolutely broken, right? You're investing in programs, you're investing in development to get more money, to run more programs, to do more things. So staffing can be really hard in the back office, especially since we're looking at a demographic drought. We've got about 100 million baby boomers set to retire over the next 10 years. We've only got less than 30 million age 18 to 24 about to enter the workforce, a gap of 70 million people that need to be filled somehow. How are we going to do that? That's the next trend. Harnessing technology through automation, through RPA or digital workers, through automating manual tasks. All of those 25 tab spreadsheets, we need to get those into a system so that they're being calculated within a system instead of done manually. All of those repetitive and tedious things, let's get those automated so that we can have our staff be spending time doing analytics, looking for trends, and having a greater mission impact. Our third trend that we are seeing is the increased regulatory pressure. No surprise to anybody on this call, DAF reform continues to be talked about, contribution requirements, changing them, increasing them, and looking at the taxable donation cap. People who are not fans of DAFs would like that to be way lower. And so all of these things come into play in how you're thinking about running your organization. The fourth thing that we're seeing is ESG and impact investing. So donors are increasingly thinking about how are their monies being invested while they're sitting with the community foundation prior to being given out to other nonprofits. So they want those investments of their funds to align with their values, to align with the values of the organization, to make sure that you're not investing in things that they don't believe in. And so that has been an increasingly area of focus for many of our foundation clients who are carrying large balances that people care a lot about. The fifth thing that we're seeing is an increase in contributions of illiquid and non-cash assets. Things like crypto, parking lots, buildings, privately held stock, complicated businesses, because the tax deduction for cash gifts to DAFs are at 60% of AGI versus, if you donate it to a private foundation, it can be capped at 30%. So that can be really tough.
Let me see if I saw that comment. Let me see if I can switch my microphone. Is that better? Hopefully that'll be better for folks listening there. So the last thing that we wanted to talk about is the sunsetting of technology and creating a single source of truth. So PHMSA is sunsetting their donor portal. That's something that a lot of community foundations are looking at, or you're wanting more functionality within there. Integrating systems for a single source of truth, making sure that you're not spending that valuable staff time doing data entry. That could be done by moving numbers and data automatically in between systems. And increasingly, we're seeing people wanting to utilize third-party data for benchmarking, for operational purposes, and looking at that operational and financial data together, looking at data warehousing, and how do we get all of those different sources of data into one place to be able to report out and really get a pulse on the business. And everybody wants that to be real time. Nobody wants to wait until the end of the month or the end of the week even before you can see that impact of those transactions on where you're at. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Jalita.
Thank you, Brenda. Next slide, please. So I'm going to walk you through a demo for the donor portal. It's going to be broken up into two areas of engagement. The first area is going to be the donor engagement. So when we walk through that part of the portal, we're going to view it as if we were the donor, and you're going to see fund balances, you're going to see gifts, grants, and we're also going to submit a donor advised fund request. Also, I'm going to take you to the back end of Salesforce. So this would be more like your internal, your foundation engagement. And then we're going to then take that fund request. We're going to review it, approve it, and do a disbursement. In addition, we are going to cover one of the collaboration tools that Salesforce has as well. So I'm going to go off video. I need to share my screen with you. Give me just a moment. Okay, so you all can see my screen now. So this is our donor portal that we're going to utilize today for your demo. First thing, I want to talk about the donor user area. In this area, over to the right here, I'm going to select my profile. This is where the donor personal information would be, about their profile, their email address, just general information about the donor. Also, the donor has the ability to adjust their settings and their preferences, like their time zone, their language, etc. Also, in this user section, the donor has a My Account area. In this My Account area, this is where the donor would come and manage their household. So this speaks to their address. Also, if I scroll down, you see some of what we consider roll-up totals, their total gifts this year, total number of gifts, etc. So there are multiple fields that can be displayed in this area. Also, I'm going to click on the Related tab. This is also going to allow the donor to manage the individuals in their household. So this is where they would come to add or remove members that they want to connect to their household. Again, because we're looking at this household view, all the activities for the members of this household are rolling up to the household details. Now we're going to go back to our home area here. Now, in the lower area of our donor portal, you're seeing some quick links to get to fund balances, to navigate directly to gifts, to navigate directly to donor grants, and there's an area to submit a request in case there's some dynamics going on with the portal that they might need some service in. However, we're not going to use those links. We're going to use our top navigation. So to begin, under Your Funds in our dropdown, we have balances, statements, and reports. We're going to start by clicking on balances. When we click on balances, we have a view of the donor, I should say, has a view of all of their fund balances. They could see if the funds are funds are active or not. We're going to select the Colson Initiative Water Fund for our demo today. So I'm going to drill down into the fund by clicking it. And this is going to pull up our fund detail. And so we have our balance here again. There is also, as you can see, this is turning into a link in case the donor wants to jump to the fund gifts this year report. We have our fund description, and we have those roll-up fields showing on our fund as well, where you see the last allocation date, first allocation date, etc., points in time there. We also have, to the right here, we have metrics. These metrics are rolling up from a detailed report. The first one is a fund balance. We have a couple of metrics here related to gifts, and who doesn't like metrics, right? The metrics are also clickable. So if you click the metric, you can get a more detailed view. You can see that this is like the fund balance details over by month, and it is showing you how it's growing. There's also a view report button here. So if you want to drill down to the background of the data that is populating this metric, you can do that by clicking view report. We're going to navigate back over to our fund tabs here. We have a gift tab. Now, there is a gift tab on the fund, but you see one at our higher navigation. The gifts tab under the fund here is going to show you gifts that are related to the fund record that we're sitting on. The higher level gift tab is going to show you, we'll get back to that, but it's going to show you gifts across all funds. So we're going to click on the gifts for our water fund here. And this is going to show us a list of our fund gifts. Now, all of our fields here are customizable. You can display whatever fields you'd like your donor to see about the gift. But if you click your view link here, you can drill down on the fund gift and see detailed information about that fund gift, like the name of the account, the type of account it is. This is nonprofit education, the address, the amount, etc. So I'm going to hit my back button here and go up to my funds list of fund gifts. In like manner, I'm going to click over on grants, And this is going to be our outflow. So you're going to see a list of your fund grants. Again, the fields are customizable. You can display whatever field related to the grant that you'd like your donor to see. You can click view and then drill down into the grant like we did for the fund there, the fund gift, but this is going to give you details on that fund grant as well. So I'm going to click out of there. And back on our navigation, we also have statement and reports, but we also have quick links to get to view statements and view reports. These are the same options. So let's click view statements. When you click view statements, this is going to drop you into a library. In this library, you're going to have a folder for each of the various funds. The donor is going to see a folder for all of the funds that they have access to view. Let's go into the water fund. This is going to drill down on all of the information that's related to the water fund here. What we are targeting during this demo are statements. So I'm going to click down into the statements folder, and what you're going to see is our water fund statements. Now, what's key about this area is that the statements are populating from our accounting system. So this is representing integration into Salesforce, where you have that automatically populating into this folder for this fund. Okay, so we're going to use our drop down and we're going to go to reports. This is a list of reports that the donor has access to. We'll drill down into our fund balance report. And this looks familiar. This is the metric that we actually have on our fund page when we started, as you can see. This is one of the reports that Salesforce has. There are multiple ones that comes out of the box. Reports in Salesforce allows you to have metrics on the reports as well. And then you also have details that you can open up, etc. You can control what fields are on this report and what you would like your donor to see. I'm going to go back here and actually let's jump to the gifts tab because I believe we're done with the first drop down. So on this gifts tab, we have a view of all of the gifts that are across funds, as you can see. And these are, again, cross funds. Here you see our water fund noted. We can click view, and this will give us our drop down to view the details of our fund gift. Now we're going to switch over to our grants drop down. This is giving us a list of requests for funding. If we click that, we are on our open funding requests. So from a donor standpoint, these would be the requests, our DAF requests that we have submitted, and these are the ones that are currently open. We have a drop down here. All of this is customizable as well, where you can, the donor can view the status of all the requests that are in queue. So they can look at the awarded funding requests, the fully dispersed funding requests, etc. So for our demo, I am going to click on submit new requests. So let's actually walk through this. So for organization name, we're going to give it a name here. We're going to enter a first name, and we're going to say our funding request date is May 16th. We're going to give it a request amount, and we're going to select the fund. We're going to select our water fund. Now, with this request, you do have the ability to upload files, or you can drag and drop files here as well. And then you would click submit, and our funding request would now be submitted to our fund advisor, our fund sponsor, or grant team, whatever is represented in your org. So now that our funding request is submitted, let's peel back literally the background and give you an internal view of what's occurring when that donor has submitted their DAF request. So we have a lot going on here. This is our home tab. We have a dashboard and we have many other areas. Salesforce is very robust, but I want to draw your attention to the items to approve. So we have our notification here as well that's letting us know that we have an item. I'm going to refresh my screen here. There we go, our community grow org. So we have an approval process in the background that is letting us know through a notification that, hey, our donor is requesting approval for a funding request. And also we have an area here that we can click in, and it's going to take us to where we can approve the DAF request. Now, you can control which fields you need to view in order to approve this request. Some requests can be a one-step request. Maybe it's based on an amount, or maybe you have a two-step request. Either way, this is customizable. Funding request approvals are out of the box as well. And from here, we can just click approve to approve the request. So I will put, and we can add comments, approved to disperse. And I'm going to click approved. And as you can see, now that request is approved. I also want to bring your attention to the donor side here, where notice we have a notification here. The donor now can see the notification and says the notification is saying that your funding request has been approved. It identifies the fund, the date. This is the name of our community grow org, etc. for the amount. And then there is a link there to get to the details of the funding request. Now I'm going to go back to the internal view. I'm going to click on the approval, the funding request name, and we are actually on our funding request tab. We have a highlights bar here that's telling us our funding request name. It's in the awarded status. We have a requested amount. And there's a lot more here, but I'm going to draw your attention here to our awards details. So what we're going to do is we're going to award this. So we're going to say the amount is what is requested. We're going to give it a day for today, and we're going to give it the payment due date. Now, when we save this, our awarded amount populated across the org. So here and for our donor, they will see that it is awarded. Now, once it's awarded, to create a disbursement, we just are going to create disbursements here. We're going to say how many number of disbursements we would like to have. So let's do 4. And we want our first disbursement to be today. Our intervals, we want 1 disbursement per month for this amount. We can click calculate, and our disbursement schedule automatically creates. So we're going to click save here, and we're going to utilize one of our quick links to get a look at the disbursements that were created from our disbursement button there. As the disbursements go out, our disbursement dates will automatically populate. So basically, once our disbursements are created, it is going to sync with the integration for your accounting system, and it will be carried out there. And then when the disbursements have been taken care of on your accounting system, it will sync back and populate all of the necessary areas. So I'm going to jump back to the donor portal here. We're going to click open requests. We see that our community grow landed in this list. Now we're going to check the awarded, which is going to give us a refresh. So now it's in the awarded phase as well. I can click view here, and as we are about to wrap up, we are looking at the DAF request that we created. We have the detailed information of our DAF request, and we have, this is the collaboration tool in Salesforce. It is called Chatter. This is where our notification to our donor, it came in to the actual funding request. It posted itself in Chatter. And Chatter can also, it's kind of like Teams as well if you've used Microsoft Teams, but this is a way that you can communicate to your grant teams or to the fund sponsor or advisor. And this will give you that ability to have a two-way conversation. Now, pretty much that is our demo. The idea behind any portal is that you want an ease of use. You want to make sure it's functional, it's easy to use, and it's available on the go. This is also available on desktop, tablet, or mobile. And pretty much what you've seen was Salesforce out of the box. So for next steps, I am going to turn it over to Brenda.
Awesome. Thank you for that walkthrough. That was really informative. I saw a lot of features I didn't even know existed, so that's exciting. So in terms of next steps, if you don't know where to start by looking at your current systems. Are you getting everything that you need from your current systems? If you're not, what kind of bridge do you need? Are there any systems that are absolutely critical to invest in? If you are on Blackbaud FIMS and it's sunsetting, what are you going to do between the time that sunsets and that you have access to a new solution? Is there anything that you need to do in terms of bridge support there? And where are the gaps? What is a need and what is a want? And so that can help you really prioritize if you have a limited budget for each fiscal year, which I'm sure you do. What do you have to get up and running right away? And what can be optimization or a phase 2 that can come later, maybe under another fiscal year, or you can try and get a grant to cover those kinds of expenses. And of course, I'd be remiss without saying that we can help with all of this. So Jalita is going to go into some of the specific things that we can do in terms of a health check, which is free. And also we can help with vendor selection if you need help trying to figure out which solutions are going to help you meet your needs. If you need somebody, an outside party, to come in and help assess what your needs are, because you've got a whole bunch of different people that are saying different things. We obviously are a Salesforce partner and can implement for you. And we also offer a number of training options. Jalita, do you want to give us a little bit more detail?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Brenda. So we're happy to offer a complimentary Salesforce health check for existing orgs. So the health check includes 2 parts, a system review by a Salesforce certified senior consultant, which is going to include a review of any errors you're having in your org, features in use, configurations, process builders, flow, etc. Also, we're going to, we would conduct a 2 to 3 hour walkthrough with your user groups. This would be also to support to identify any pain points and potential enhancements that is needed in your system. And upon completion, we will schedule a review and provide a report prioritizing critical findings with supporting documentation. Next slide. We also have Armanino-led virtual courses. So we also offer online classes to help our clients with all software solutions that we support. This can be especially helpful for onboarding new employees and also learning best practices, workflows, and also staying up to date on new feature releases and how that can be beneficial to your org. And so I am going to pass it back for our final poll.
I'm not sure we have another poll. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and drop those in the chat for us. We're happy to answer them. We have a couple minutes left. If not, we'll send you the slides and the recording. And thank you so much for joining us today.
I do see one question, Brenda. It says, under open requests, what are the filter options for donors?
Okay, under open requests, those filter options can be whatever you like them to be. They normally, the way we had it set up was it flowed with your status. So if you had, so when your DAF request was in review, it can be a list to show all of your DAF requests that are in review. all of them that are maybe being funded or dispersed, etc. So you can set how you would like your the donor to view what options they would have in that list. So it would, so short answer, it would flow based on the stage that the funding request is in at any point in time.
All right, thank you, Jalita. Well, I think that wraps up our questions and presentation for today. So thank you again for attending, and please remember to complete the survey as you close out of the webinar. Bye.